Kaisa, tell us about the origins of this booklet. Why do we need a new document on ecumenism?
Well, we've been talking about that for quite a long time in the LWF, and I think there are two reasons behind that. We are quite advanced in our more academic ecumenical discussions with many of our ecumenical partners. For example, with the Catholics, the Lutherans have had kind of continuous ecumenical dialogue for 5 decades now. The other reason is that we kind of wanted to make sure that the ecumenical processes that take place at the global level really would be able to reach to the local level, and that the fruits of our global ecumenical dialogues would be, we would find a way how to hand these over to our member churches, and at the same time, how can we collect the fruits of the local ecumenical encounters and bring these to the global level. So that's these are actually the two reasons behind that document.
One of the goals, as you say, is this question of trying to bridge the divide between intellectual, academic, theological discussions and the down-to-earth, day-to-day practice of people in parishes. That's a huge challenge, isn't it?
Indeed, and I think that's probably one of the biggest criticisms that ecumenical dialogues have been facing throughout the years, not just in the global, but in the local level as well. We bring together the best theologians we have, and actually they have fun when they have those dialogues. And in a way, I understand that we tend to love to dig deeper in the dogmatic discussions that we have. But at the same time, we have huge responsibility to be accountable to the people in the pew and to our local congregations and local churches, with the kind of understanding that what does it mean in their life that we have these conversations? Does the results change the relationship between Lutherans and Catholics, for example, between Lutherans and our ecumenical partners? And this is the reason why we really need to bind these two levels together. It is challenging, but it is not impossible, and I think it's something that we really have to do. It's one of the calls that we have for our ecumenical dialogues.
For many people, though, ecumenism really is all about doctrine rather than the practice of our faith. How do you hope to challenge that perception, to change that idea?
Well, I think in order to change that idea, particularly amongst those people who are not part of the doctrinal discussions, but who think that this is all about ecumenism, we need to show that the way our churches live together and witness together in our ecumenical relationships is as important as the dogmatic discussions we have. We're kind of moving along towards the unity of the church, on the path towards the unity of the church along both parts, the dogmatic, the theological discussions, and then the way we live and work together as churches. And of course, in both ways, the crux of everything that we need to do and that we do is around the question of, can we break the bread? Can we share the cup together? Can we celebrate the Eucharistic communion between our churches?
How do you hope that this document will really affect people in the local churches? For example, in Finland, where you're returning to serve as bishop, what difference will it make?
Well, of course, I mean, the ecumenical relations and commitment of Lutheran churches are lived out in a very different way in different contexts than in the local communities. For some, it's really about this, as I said, the living out together and witnessing together. For the others, it's more about the dogmatic discussions. And I think, at least in Finland, there is this kind of rather deep understanding amongst the local congregations that the dogmatic and theological discussions are only for few, and that they are not so much for the local, to the ordinary people to understand. I think we're already moving towards a different kind of opening of ecumenical documents and reasoning to our local congregations and those people who don't participate in these discussions. Why do we do that, and what are the results? But I think there's still a way to go for that and strengthen that kind of link and understanding and opening up that this is not just a club for few, this is something that we do for all.
So it'll be a priority for you when you go back to begin your ministry?
Well, it will be one of the priorities. I think there are quite many waiting for me.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Philippa.